Speaker, he was in class 2. When we were in 2005, in Bomas, speaking to this spirit, we saw the need to make sure that the wrong that was done against Kenyans from these 14 counties would be righted by putting a quantum of 2.5% of the budget specifically for purposes of ensuring that we fast-track health facility development, roads, electricity, and access to health. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, as we speak this afternoon, I really wonder why we have never.
What is the point of order, Senator from Mombasa?
This one was in class 4.
Comprehend that the majority leader has talked about, that my majority whip has talked about, that our majority leader was in class 2 in the year 2005. My little mathematics, today is 20 years since 2005. That means Senator Cheriot in 2005 was about 7 years old. And I wonder whether that's his age, that is now is 27 years old. And I thought he had already passed the level of a youth. And now he's in the mid-30s. Thank you.
Senator Faki, I've been patiently waiting for the point of order and the relevant standing order that has been breached, so that I make a ruling.
Order number 1, Mr. Speaker, he has to take responsibility for the issues that he is talking about, order, and it is not factual.
Order, you cannot invoke standing order number 1. It's not available to you. Proceed to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know my brother, the Senator from Mombasa, as a very strong Muslim. I wonder.
Just proceed to debate and
thank you, Mr. Speaker. He should consider reviewing his menu for lunch. Mr. Speaker, I therefore get very disappointed, not by this House, but just disappointed with myself, that how could I have been here for so long and failed to plead with colleagues so that we make the National Treasury independent from the executive. It is because the National Treasury is not independent that all monies are assumed to be in the hands of the executive, to the extent that money due to counties is never released. As we speak today, over the last now almost 17 years, the counties that were supposed to benefit from this money, they are yet to get. What is more, because of something which I don't understand, and once again, I want to invite the Senator for Mombasa to help me, because I was not here last time, in the last parliament. What happened? How did you, as senators, increase the number of beneficiary counties from 14 to 34? Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Kakamega, would you wish to be informed by the majority leader?
Yes, I asked for it.
May I proceed?
Mr. Speaker, if the whip of the majority will be patient when I'll be making my submissions, because I was part of the Budget and Finance Committee that recommended that expansion of the list of beneficiaries, I will give reasons to him. So probably if he hangs around the House later on when I get an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, I'll explain why he's asking and the justification.
So, Senator for Kakamega, you can do whatever you wish to do with the information you've been given.
Wait for the mic. Wait for the mic. Wait for the mic.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, you have heard the leader of the majority. If it wasn't for the fact that he is my boss, I would have requested you to exercise for the first time in this House so that members can know something called a frivolous point of order. A frivolous interference with my debate the way he has done. He thinks I don't know what they did. In fact, that finance committee must have been one of the weakest. Mr. Speaker, in that committee, they recommended that amongst these 17 counties should be Kericho. Kericho, which enjoys rainfall 11 months out of 12 in a year. So that they would go and fight with Turkana money meant to fast-track availability of water to the people of Turkana. Was that a committee worth celebrating, Mr. Speaker? Yes. In fact, if leadership was acquired through competitiveness, then leader of majority would have found a very difficult interview to make it to high office because it is a very serious offense. I say this with maximum respect, no tribalism in my heart, because even back home in Bungoma has been allowed to benefit from this money. It's not supposed to. No. That must be relooked at, and this House, because we are a House of equity, equalization fund should be accessed by only the 14 counties. Mr. Speaker, you have had the privilege as a national party leader of the power to fly across the Republic. Mr. Speaker, you have seen how the countryside of Kenya just looks like. You don't even have to be educated by anybody to know that this one deserving, this one is not deserving. We have to build patriotism in this country by saying that our brothers left behind, we hold their hands, we move together. You know, Mr. Speaker, when this debate was going on at that time, and Edwin, this one will amuse you, Sifuna, there's somebody who said, no.
Honorable Bone.
Yes.
You refer to your colleague as Honorable Senator.
Yeah.
You may not mind, but the language of the House, your brotherhood is outside this chamber. May you extend that relationship.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In this chamber.
Mr. Speaker, you know sometimes it's so difficult to think in vernacular than speak in English. When I was thinking in Kiluya, in Luya culture, a younger brother like this one is always your baby. So sometimes I forget that he's a senator because he's my younger brother. It was actually a statement of love. Senator of Nairobi, you'll be amused. Some of the people who insisted that this should not be the case, no sooner oil was discovered in Turkana than they ran and bought blocks of fields in Turkana so that they become property owners in speculation that probably in that block he has bought, then oil will be struck. I tell you, these ignored counties that we have, I have named some of them, resources will fall there, and we shall all be running there or depending on them because they will be the prime movers of the economy of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, having said that, I therefore want to amplify my thoughts on an independent national treasury. We should make the national treasury independent so that no phone call comes from the office of the president, from the Senate, from some other powerful ministry, either Prime Cabinet Secretary or Minister of Interior, to force them to push money to some areas simply because development is supposed to follow power. We would like development in this country, Mr. Speaker, to follow meritocracy. If it was following meritocracy, Mr. Speaker, the shock that I've received today, this morning, from which I'm still reeling, would not have occurred. Cabinet sat 2 months ago, announced that the road from Rironi to Nakuru, Mau Summit, Eldoret, Kabrengo, Webuye, Punkandui, up to Malaba would be a dual carriage. Today, the minister has come and has told the people of Western Province that goalposts have since been shifted to the extent that now the dual carriage will stop at Mao Summit, and the budget, which was meant to push it to Malaba, would now be used to now do a detour to go to Mai Mahiu and hopefully Narok or where. I didn't want to tell the minister because I would have been out of order because I have no facts. But could it be that the all-powerful minister for roads comes from Pomet, and this is why he wants part of that pie to be Bidwad, to go to Pomet side, to avoid it going to Malaba. This decision will have to be reviewed and possibly reversed. Mr. Speaker, you cannot lock out Western Province from such a flagship project. And even if you don't like the face of the people, mainly the men of Western, we have some very beautiful women from Western. At least use their faces to give them development, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I say this with a lot of pain. It is only a few years ago, Mr. Speaker, that a basic thing like a national school was being given now to Western, when other parts of this country have had national schools from independence. So much so that the majority of the elites you see from my region have had to make it academically by going to national schools outside the region. It is this marginalization that makes some of us get confused, get angry with government, and this, Mr. Speaker, might stop. And if they don't want to stop it because of the politics they want to pursue, let me teach them a bit of economics, which I don't understand. Economics says Kenya's #1 trading partner is Uganda. And when you add the amount of trade we do with Rwanda, we do with Bujumbura, we do with the Eastern Congo, we do with South Sudan, the goods and services that go on that road are the engine of the economy of Kenya in as far as import and export is concerned as a revenue stream. If we must grow this economy of Kenya, in this government and the government that will come thereafter, there are two minimums we must do. And that minimum is not mine. It was in Vision 2030, Mr. Speaker, of President Mwai Kibaki. It was, you dual the road from Mombasa Port all the way to the border. And it went further and said, and for information, Mr. Speaker, it's just a reminder to you, you are our minister in the East African community. You know the blueprint of the road network in the East African community, which says that that dueling will not end at Malaba, but the community will help the dueling to go all the way to the Kampala, all the way to Kigali, all the way to Goma, all the way to Bujumbura. Then we open the economy, Limb 1, and then Limb 2, LAPSET projects. Lamu, Seaport, Mr. Speaker, and then you do the roads all the way to Ethiopia and all the way to South Sudan. If we open these arteries, we will grow the economy of Kenya. We won't have to export our youth to go and look for jobs in Dubai and look for jobs in other funny places who have no idea how difficult it is for you to take care of your pregnant wife so that she gives birth, so that you educate that child. They don't know. We do it for them, and then we give them our professionals. We need to create these jobs here at home. And how do you do it? You have to open the economy. You think proactively. Mr. Speaker, I've had to emphasize this thing, and I want to appeal to colleagues. Let us make the National Treasury independent, then equalization funds will flow, and other decentralized funds will flow. Mr. Speaker, finally, but not least, I want to use this opportunity to congratulate CS Mbadi. The Speaker, I had a meeting with Mbadi of 2 hours. That minister seems to know what he's doing. We only need to tweak him a little bit. He knows what we are doing, but he's under pressure of politics, whereby he's forced to then tweak some projects to Nyanza. Once you correct that, Mbadi is a good fit for that ministry. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I support.
Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia mswada wa hazina ya usawa katika nchi yetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, hazina hii ilianzishwa mwaka 2010 kupitia katiba mpya, ambapo katika kifungu cha 204 imetolewa kwamba kutakuwa na hazina ijulikanayo kama hazina ya Equalization Fund, ili kusaidia maeneo ambayo yalikuwa yametengwa kwa muda mrefu ili yaweze kuwa karibu sawa na yale maeneo mengine. Mheshimiwa Spika, katika mgao wa kwanza kulikuwa na kaunti 14 ambazo ndizo zilikuwa zimechaguliwa kwamba hizi ni kaunti ambazo zilikuwa zimetengwa sana, ambapo huduma kama afya, huduma kama barabara, huduma kama za elimu zilikuwa zimetengwa kabisa katika maeneo yale, ambapo Wakenya wengi katika maeneo yale walikuwa hawakubahatika hata kwenda shule ama kupata huduma za afya kama Wakenya wengine. Mheshimiwa Spika, uanzilishi wa hazina hii ulikuwa kuona malengo mazuri sana, lakini baada tu kuanzishwa kukaingia mambo mengi ya kusikitisha ambayo yamesababisha kwamba mpaka sasa hazina hii haijatumika kikamilifu. Kwa mfano, Mheshimiwa Spika, baada ya kuanzishwa ilichukua muda mrefu sana kuweza kupata kanuni ama sheria endelezi, delegated legislation ama regulations za kuweza kuendesha hazina hii. Za kwanza zilipotengenezwa zilipatikana zina makosa kwa sababu hawakuhusisha county council of governors ama county zetu. Wao wakaenda mahakamani wakaweza kuzibatilisha, tukarudi tena na tukachukua muda mrefu katika Senate ya 3 ambapo ndio tuliweza kupitisha kanuni hizo. Na pia kupitisha kwake, Mheshimiwa Spika, ilibidi tutumie mbinu fulani ambazo sitaweza kuzieleza ili ziweze kupita ndio wananchi wafaidike, kwa sababu kulikuwa na watu ambao maseneta hapa katika bunge lile walikuwa wako tayari kuzipinga ili siweze kutekelezwa. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa zaidi ya miaka 8 baada ya hazina hii kuanzishwa, zile counties zilizokusudiwa kupata manufaa, Mheshimiwa Spika, hazikuweza kupata manufaa yale. Wengi walikuwa wamepewa zabuni za kuanzisha kazi katika maeneo ya zile county. Nakumbuka kuna watu kadhaa walinifuata wakati mimi ni mwenyekiti wa kamati ya delegated legislation katika bunge lililokwisha, kutaka kujua kanuni zitapishwa lini ili waweze kumaliza zile kazi walikuwa wameweza kufanya na waweze kulipwa pesa zao ambazo walikuwa wanadai ile hazina. Mheshimiwa Spika, baada ya kupitisha kanuni, vile vile pia ilifika wakati wa kuamua zile county ambazo zitafaidika katika awamu ya pili. Ndio hapo sasa zikawa sasa county zimeongezeka, zimekuwa mpaka 34 badala ya zile 14 za kwanza. Kukaongezeka county nyingine 20 ambazo pia wao walidai kwamba ni wametengwa, ikiwemo Kiambu. Mheshimiwa Spika, county ya Kiambu pia ambapo kuna matajiri upande mmoja, watajiri wengi ama wakubwa upande mmoja na maskini wadogo upande mwingine, pia ikapatikana kwa ni county ambayo imetengwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la kusikitisha zaidi ni kwamba serikali mpaka hivi sasa pesa ambazo zimetengwa kwa hazina hii kwa miaka yote ambayo imepita ni bilioni 56. Katika hizi, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni asilimia ama ni karibu asilimia 20 peke yake ambayo mpaka sasa zimeweza kulipwa ama zimeweza kutoka katika hazina kuu kwenda katika zile maeneo. Kwa sasa sio county, ni maeneo ambayo yametengwa. Tulitoka katika county, sasa tuko katika maeneo. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa hiyo japokuwa malengo ya hazina hii yalikuwa ni mazuri sana, lakini utepetevu katika serikali umefanya kwamba hazina hii isiweze kuweza kutumika kikamilifu. Na wakati tunaelekea mwisho wa hazina hii, kwa sababu hii hazina nafikiri ina kiwango cha miaka 20, wakati tunapoelekea mwisho wa hazina hii, kwa sababu tayari zaidi ya miaka 15 imekwenda, kuna hatari kwamba yale malengo ambayo yalikuwa yamewekwa na hazina hii hayataweza kufikiwa. Na vile vile, Mheshimiwa Spika, maeneo mengi pia yanaendelea kutengwa, japokuwa tuna serikali za county, lakini kuna maeneo mengi katika county zetu ambayo yanatengwa kwa sababu ya siasa. Kama mbunge wa eneo yako haelewani na gavana, ina maana kwamba eneo lako halitapata maendeleo, na baada ya miaka 5 litakuwa limetengwa kuliko yale ambayo yalitengwa kutoka wakati wa uhuru mpaka hivi sasa tumefikia. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo lingine pia la kusikitisha ni sijui ni la kufurahisha ama kusikitisha, ni kwamba wakati tulipokuwa tunapokea maoni ya washikadau kuhusiana na hii sheria ya equalization, kulikuja maoni kutoka kwa ndugu zetu hapa Nairobi, maeneo ya Pumwani, ambao walisema kwamba sisi pia tunataka tujumuishwe katika yale maeneo yametengwa, kwa sababu kwa miaka mingi hapa Pumwani, hapa Nairobi, kama kilomita 4 kutoka hapa katika bunge, Mheshimiwa Spika, tumekaa hapo, hatuna maji ya mfereji, hatuna huduma za afya za sawa, hatuna huduma za usafi, yani sanitation na mambo kama hayo, na kwamba wao pia wamesema kwamba sisi pia tunahitaji kupewa hazina hii ili tuweze kusukuma ama tuweze kuboresha mazingira na maeneo yetu ambayo tunaishi. Kwa hiyo, Mheshimiwa Spika, na imani mimi kwamba itakapofika wakati wa kujadili awamu ya 3 ya kutumia ama formula ama mwelekeo wa kugawanya hazina hii, nafikiri kaunti zote 47 zitakuwa zimeingia katika mfumo kwamba zote zimetengwa. Kwa hiyo, Mheshimiwa Spika, tunapopitisha sheria hii ni kuwa lazima tuangalie ni njia gani ambayo tutasukuma serikali ili zile fedha ambazo zinatengwa katika hazina hii zinaweza kutumika kwa njia ambayo zitasaidia wale ambao wanakusudiwa kutumikia. Mheshimiwa Spika, swala jingine ni kwamba kuna mgongano baina ya serikali za county na vile vile yale mashirika ambayo yanatoka kwa serikali kuu kuweza kusimamia hazina hii. Kwa mfano, pesa zile ambazo zinasimamia miradi ya maji kule pwani, katika maeneo labda ya Kwale, maeneo ya Kilifi, maeneo labda ya Lamu, fedha zile zinakwenda kwa Coast Water Services Board, na pesa zile, japokuwa sisi tunashiriki katika na hii sheria imetoka katika bunge hili, sisi kama bunge la kitaifa, Senate, hatuna uwezo wa kuweza kufanya audit ya fedha zile, kwa sababu audit yake kwa vile imepitia kwa mashirika ya serikali kuu inakwenda katika National Assembly, na kuna mengine ambayo fedha nyingine ambazo zinaingia pia katika serikali zetu za county kusimamia miradi kama hiyo. Kwa mfano, miradi ya barabara mengine inafanywa na serikali za county. Kwa hivyo huu mgongano, Mheshimiwa Spika, inakuwa shida kuweza kukagua ama kusimamia fedha hizi, kuhakikisha kwamba zinafanya yale mambo ambayo yamenunuliwa kufanywa. Mheshimiwa Spika, wengi ambao wanafanya kazi hizi labda ni wabunge, maseneta. Kwa hivyo inakuwa tatizo kuweza kusimamia ukaguzi ama audit wa fedha hizi, ili kuona kwamba zile kazi ambazo zinanuiwa kufanywa zinafanyika, ili tuweze kutoka katika lile lindi la kutengwa na wao waweze kupata huduma kama vile sehemu zingine za nchi yetu ya Kenya zinapata huduma hizo. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi naunga mkono sheria hii, na kwamba lazima tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba zile fedha zinazotengwa kila mwaka kwa hazina hii kwanza zinawekwa kwenye sheria, zinawekwa kwenye budget, na vile vile pia zinalipwa kwa wakati unaofaa, kwa sababu hii ni kama zile pesa za dharura. Tuliona kwamba kuna shida hizi katika miaka yote kutoka tupate uhuru, kwa hivyo tukaweka hazina ambayo lengo lake ni kuziba zile shida ambazo zilikuwa ziko katika maeneo. Kwa hivyo iwapo tutakuwa tunaburuta miguu, serikali haiko tayari kulipa, mara tunaambiwa exchequer hakuna, hiyo ina maana kwamba yale maeneo yataendelea kubaki nyuma vile vile, na huu usawa ambao tulikuwa tunatarajia kuweko kwa hazina hii hautapatikana. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Senate Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance to also join my colleagues in supporting this very important motion that responds to a need identified by Kenyans in the process of passing the 2010 Constitution, that there is need to bring equality across the country based on various factors, Mr. Speaker, which in their consideration, they sat down and thought, Mr. Speaker, that all parts of the country are not the same. And I have taken time, Mr. Speaker, to explain earlier, though perhaps the person that I informed, the Senator for Kakamega, either chose not to understand me, Mr. Speaker, was a fixed position on this issue, Mr. Speaker, and therefore found the information not useful to himself. Mr. Speaker, I am disappointed in the two members that have spoken because they are both members of Budget and Finance Committee, and they continue to perpetuate a particular thinking which Kenyans disagreed with in 2010, Mr. Speaker, because they felt that without good basis, identifying and believing that there are certain parts of the country based on the general observation, Mr. Speaker, that people who live in a certain area, Mr. Speaker, are wealthy, and people who come from certain regions, Mr. Speaker, are poor, that is the basis upon which you determine whether the standards of livelihood are being brought up to the same level nationally or being left out, Mr. Speaker. It is as if assuming, Mr. Speaker, that everybody that lives in Karen is wealthy. Yet you know within the abodes of Karen, Mr. Speaker, there is Kuwinda slum. Yet everybody believes, Mr. Speaker, that if you are to just make a general determination and say, oh, people that come from a particular region, you should never address their needs. Because people that come, I heard Senator Faki say Kiambu, for example, that he is surprised why Kiambu makes it to the list. I would put it to them, Mr. Speaker, that in the year 2018, Budget and Finance Committee received a petition from members of the public, and they felt that the first marginalization policy passed by the CRA, Mr. Speaker, marginalized certain areas because it followed this kind of thinking that in the general interpretation and based on our own thoughts and ideas, that there are certain regions and there are certain parts of the country, Mr. Speaker, that are way ahead because of certain beliefs. They receive rainfall. I think that's what I heard Senator Alwale say. Other regions, because maybe they've had the opportunity of producing a president and things like that. That petition spoke to these issues, Mr. Speaker. Number one, that petition, Mr. Speaker, to our committee reminded us that a county is too large a geographical space, Mr. Speaker, when coming up with a marginalization policy. They recommended to us as a committee that we ask CRA, in their consideration of the second marginalization policy, which is what is enforced today, Mr. Speaker, that we ask them to be more specific to the least geographical administration unit, which in this country, Mr. Speaker, is a sublocation, and see the specific needs of residents of this republic based on where they live, Mr. Speaker. And the petitioners at that particular time, because I do recall what they asked of us at that particular time, Mr. Speaker, is that it is very easy to be misled and imagine that because of certain advantage of climate conditions or horticultural practices, Mr. Speaker, and certain beliefs that people have held about certain sections of a country, that it is possible to continue to perpetuate marginalization due to general belief that certain regions and certain parts of the country, Mr. Speaker, are well endowed. Second and most importantly, Mr. Speaker, is that you are asked to do a proper reading of Article 204. And I'd wish to read for the benefit of the members that had spoken earlier. Particularly Section 4, Mr. Speaker, which directed that CRA, the Commission for Revenue Allocation, shall be consulted. I don't just consult. You know, consult, Mr. Speaker, in this country got a new meaning during the infamous days of the, what was it called? Not handshake, the one between Kibaki and Raila. I forget the name. Katenusu, Mr. Speaker, after the post-election violence of 2007. You remember that on the floors of Parliament, there was a big debate about what consultation is. And I want to believe that it is on that background that actually Article 204 speaks to. It doesn't just say that we consult CRA. It tells us its recommendation considered before Parliament, that we must demonstrate that we did not just listen to CRA, we considered what they asked of us as Parliament, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, when CRA sat down and retreated to consider and give their proposal of the second marginalization policy, Mr. Speaker, they used sub-locations, and they went across the breadth of this country. There are close to 50,000 sub-locations across this country, Mr. Speaker, each with already determined matrices of measurement, particularly on the issues, because remember, Article 204 has asked of us that we try and bring, they use a very interesting word, to general levels of what citizens in the rest of the country enjoy. And they speak to water, roads, electricity, and I think there's a fourth item which I forget, Mr. Speaker. Out of their report, Mr. Speaker, CRA proposed to us that in their findings, there are 1,864, Mr. Speaker, sub-locations that will fall under the category of what you call marginalized parts of this country. I'll put it to you, Senator Boni Halwale, because you mentioned the county and the people that I represent in this house, that it is actually true. Kericho receives rainfall nearly 11 out of 12 months. But what do you do with rainfall if you come from a part like Soin and Soliat, Mr. Speaker, that the land is 90% stone? You can't farm on such land, Mr. Speaker. To build even a road in that part of the country, Mr. Speaker, because you have got to dig through hardcore stone, Mr. Speaker, is almost 5 times the cost of what 70-80% of the county will enjoy. And therefore, it was with good reason, Mr. Speaker, that CRA moved actually from the first marginalization policy, where equalization fund was being distributed based on this, what we know, and idiosyncrasies that we formed over the years, that this part of the country is rich, this one is poor, Mr. Speaker, and reduce it to the least unit of administration, and that is a sub-location, Mr. Speaker, in determination of which parts of the country get to benefit from these funds. It is also important that the report that you brought here, Senator Boni Halwale and Senator Faki, actually attest and gives history about this particular discussion. Actually, it's 1424, not 1824, Mr. Speaker. And I appreciate, because even in the report that the committee has brought out, Mr. Speaker, has told us that despite that decision, Senator Halwale, 60% still of these funds, they find themselves in the hands of the so-called, what you now traditionally refer to as deserving counties to benefit. That is a county of, and I think your report actually has a list. For example, in this bill, West Pokot will get 1.8 billion, Turkana will get 1.8 as well, Mandera 1.2, Wajir 1.2, Samburu 1.1, Garissa 1.1, and Baringo 970 million Kenya shillings, which tells you that they have not departed completely from the initial thinking that there are certain counties which generally, Mr. Speaker, suffer the bias of having been left by the rest of the country with regards to provision of services on those 3 or 4 aspects that the Constitution identified as important for the basic livelihood of an ordinary citizen of this country. And therefore, if you are found to be completely out of par with the rest of the country, then you meet that categorization, Mr. Speaker. 60% still falls under those particular counties, and the rest of the 40 is shared actually. Percent is shared in these so-called 30 counties, which people may debate here or there that either they deserve or they do not deserve. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I make the case that I believe that that committee, in agreeing with the recommendations of CRA, did something Solomonic, Mr. Speaker, because I would still find it difficult to face certain sections of my county, for example, and tell them that I passed a bill here on equalization funds, Mr. Speaker, to take resources to certain parts of the country by consideration, Mr. Speaker, that generally or traditionally they are considered to be poor, yet they will show me, and justifiably so, Mr. Speaker, that even us, we live in worse or as harsh conditions, Mr. Speaker, as those particular counties, Mr. Speaker. And the same can be said of all these 1424 sub-locations that have been listed in the second marginalization policy. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, if my colleagues hold the view that it was a wrong departure by CRA and by us agreeing with them, Mr. Speaker, I want to believe that this is the year that CRA is actually doing their consideration of the third policy on marginalization. It will be interesting to see what the present committee will do with them, and it will be of importance to convince us as a House, Mr. Speaker, to know why we need to depart from that particular logic. And for your information, colleagues, that committee actually was chaired by a senator from the north, the Senator Engineer Mohamud, who himself represented an extremely marginalized county, the county of Mandera. But when the facts and the figures were tabled, Mr. Speaker, he couldn't help but agree and say, this is justifiable, Mr. Speaker. That is what we need to do as a country. That any time we are making decisions on policy, Mr. Speaker, on determination, on any aspects, Mr. Speaker, we consider the true facts as they are. You know, the bigger challenge that we have as a country, and something that we must do over time, if indeed as Parliament we are to respond to the needs of, the growing needs of our people and the scarce resources that we have to distribute, Mr. Speaker, we must move to levels which have been done by other countries that have found themselves in states and situations such as what Kenya finds itself in.